Today, I'm joined by Anne Pham, Deputy CEO of VinFast, as well as Lan Anh, the CFO. Welcome, Anne. So, for investors who don't know much about VinFast, could you give us a brief overview of who the company is, where it's located, and what you do?
Sure. Well, VinFast was founded in 2017 within the Vin Group ecosystem, and we're a pure-play electric mobility company. Starting with 2 car models, we've now increased our models to 5-folds, 13 cars by 2025. And at the same time, we've also expanded our market share tremendously. So we started with about 2%, but by 2025, we've ended up with over 30% market share in Vietnam, and we're the #1 car brand by 2024. We extended that lead in 25. Beyond Vietnam, which is our home market, we've also expanded into India, Indonesia, Philippines, which are sort of fast-growing South Asian markets. And beyond that, we also have cars sold in the United States, as well as certain countries in Europe. Our model is essentially a dealer-led model where we work very closely with the domestic dealer ecosystem to sell our cars.
So I'd love to move on to your international expansion strategy. So I think key to your growth is your move into Indonesia, India, and the Philippines. I'd love to hear a bit more about the sort of decisive decisions behind why these markets. Is it policy-driven? Is it the EV penetration rates? And I'd love to hear some kind of general growth expectations over the next 12 to 18 months.
I think since we got into electric vehicles, in 2020, 2021, we've looked very closely at a lot of international markets. And we are sort of growing very rapidly in Indonesia, India, and Philippines, precisely because of their large population. Relatively attractive, that means low at the moment. EV penetration around 3%, 6% in Philippines, and about around 10% in India. And that gives us a lot of headroom to grow, because these countries are also having very positive, supportive governmental policies. And we're going to be able to leverage what we've learned in Vietnam, which is a fast-growing country and fast adoption of car consumption, into these new markets that we're entering. So when we enter, we work or we try to bring in a whole ecosystem that comprises of our own sister company, ride-hailing company, called GSM. We also try to deploy with charging, work with local dealers, with local financial institutions to provide financing packages for our customers. So the idea is, again, very competitive and very easy to access from the beginning, both for sale as well as after sale.
So Lan, I thought we'd move on to your path to profitability. I'd love to hear a bit about your thoughts on what some of the key drivers will be in reaching that gross margin and EBITDA positive inflection point, and whether it's going to be driven by volumes, cost reductions for your new platform, or localization.
Yeah, the way we think about the margin improvement is quite straightforward. In the near term, scale is the main driver. And as we see that we have the better fixed cost absorption. So we can see for the improvement in terms of the gross margin trajectory. At the same time, we have the structural cost levers, including the BOM cost reduction via the higher commonality, lower the complexity. And at the same time, we have time to develop for our EE 2.0 architecture. And for the in the near term, that we leverage for the scale, but later we still do many directions for the improvement, the BOM cost, to make sure about the gross margin improvement.
So recently touched on your platform 2.0. It's expected to bring in about a 30% reduction in efficiencies. I'd love to hear a bit more about the rollout of this, the sort of timeline around it, and how you expect this to impact your margins moving forward.
Yeah, So for the 2.0 EE and launching of the new platform, it's not kind of the big bang launch, but we do like consistently and to ensure about the production stability as well as it helps us to manage for the execution risk. So we expect that in late of the 2026, I mean around Q3 of the 2026, we can launch for the new platform models in the segment of VF6 and VF7. So the EE 2.0 architecture, we also launch along that side at that time. And for the, we also expect that it can help us to improve our gross margin, and it's kind of the support a lot for the cost reduction.
So moving slightly different to your product mix, throughout 2025, your sort of entry-level VF3, VF5 were your most selling vehicles. How do you see this product mix developing in the next 3 to 5 years as that move to profitability happens? Do you expect an uptick in your higher margin vehicles, or is it purely you happy with where it is now and its scale on the entry-level ones?
Yeah, so in the near term, we still build for the scale. Build the scale first, let the structural BOM reductions to help us achieve for the gross margin. And but we need to build the scale first. So that's why we expect that for VF3, VF5, Herial Green, and VF6, also to build a very critical volume. And we based on that, we can improve for the gross margin, leverage the economy of scales. And for the new models, the new platform in the segment of VF6 and VF7, we expect that it's going to be very support for the international mix, particularly in the India and Europe markets.
So I thought we'd move on to your e-scooters and e-bikes, your two-wheelers. You recently announced that you sold over 400,000 in 2025, which is fairly significant growth in the segment. How do you see this sector and whole segment of VinFast expanding in the next couple of years? And do you see it being able to have meaningful margin contribution?
Right. I think first of all, I think the contribution to both revenue top line as well as profitability of two wheels vis-a-vis four wheels is relatively conservative, because the value of a two-wheel vehicle is a lot less than the value of a car. However, two wheels is very important to us, firstly as a strategy, because it's the first point of adoption for anybody, be it a single person or a small family, to start their mobility journey. And they will always upgrade into the next vehicle for the family and a more and more premium car as their life progresses. In addition, I think greenifying the fleet for any city, be it Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, or the international cities that we're expanding to, is very important as well, because it helps to reduce pollution in public transportation. In Vietnam, we started out with a very conservative, two-wheel sale. In 23, I think we sold about over 70,000 cars. Last year, in 25, we sold around 200,000 cars, which is similar to our sales in four wheels. And you're right, the next year target is to double that. But with a lot of, again, policy support and change in behaviors, customers are now very, it is very convenient for them to swap the batteries, for them to charge their vehicles at home or in their apartment building, etc. So we think that the adoption will actually accelerate, and the 400,000 target is very much within reach.
So we've spoken about your two-wheelers and your four-wheelers. I'd love to hear a bit more about your e-bus strategy and the sort of markets that may potentially open up for you and how that business segment works.
Certainly. Our e-bus is a strategy extension from the entire mobility platform. And essentially, it is a B2B to B2G business, whereby we work with local regulators, governments, as well as public transport operators in order to bring electric buses into public transport networks. We have 4 electric bus models at the moment, ranging from small cars to bigger cars. And these buses, at least in Vietnam, they've run on public routes, both operated by our own sister company, VinBus, as well as by other operators. We've expanded this business into Europe as well, where our cars have been showcased and are being, in discussion with governments in Brussels and a few other cities in Europe. In terms of scaling readiness, not only are we producing electric buses in Vietnam at the moment, we are also going to produce electric buses at least in India, where we have a factory, and a few other factories that we are thinking of rolling out electric bus manufacturing.
So I thought we'd finish off by themes of autonomy, AI and robotics are ever more present in today's market. So I'd love to hear a bit more about what you think about the role these will play in the EV market, as well as what you're doing in these areas.
That's a very good question. I think across the industry, we're clearly seeing a shift of mobility companies such as VinFast moving towards AI or integrating AI, autonomy, and software into the overall customer experience. Our cars have already been designed from day one as a software-led or software-defined vehicle. And so this adoption for us is very natural. In particular, the cars that we've commercialized at the moment offer level 2 ADAS, and we are working on level 2++, that will be rolled out very quickly across all of our car models. Lan Anh has also mentioned an EE platform that allows us to unify across our various car models, and that will also allow us to deliver the intelligence, the data analysis, and the various functionality faster as we gather more intelligence via our AI and our autonomous research.
Thank you, Anne, for a really interesting conversation. For more information on VinFast, please see the Edison website.